Hello, in this video, I want to talk about pigeon. Pigeon is a great pose to get into when we want to open up our hips. So to get into pigeon, you want to start in a tabletop position to begin with, bringing your spine to neutral, and then tuck your toes under, press down with your hands, and lift your hips up in the air to get into downward dog. From here, bring one leg up in the air, and then bend that leg and bring it into the front of your body so that front leg is bent. And you want to have your knee out front and your hand on the same side right in front of it so that your wrist and your knee are kind of next to each other. Now from here, you can stay on tall arms if you'd like. This is a great hip stretch. So ideally with the stretch, if you're a little bit inflexible like me, you'll notice that my hip isn't really on the ground. And if you want to try to get it on the ground, you might try to see how shifting it will impact you, how that makes you feel. That's actually a little hard for me because I do have tight hips. But one way you can use some tools to modify is to put a block or a couple blankets under that hip. So I'm going to take this block here and slide it right under my hip here. And you'll notice that I have a little bit easier time just to kind of letting myself settle into that pose. Now from here, I can go a little bit deeper in the pose if I'd like, and try to see how much I can stretch out that hip. Now, the other thing that I can do is if I don't want to use the block, because that can get a little bit uncomfortable, is I can bring a blanket. And actually, I would prefer the blanket personally over the block. So now I can rest a little bit on that blanket. I prefer to have a little bit more cushioning on my hip. So I'm going to use 2 blankets actually. So that way I still get that hip stretch without feeling like I'm struggling too much. The block I can use as a way to help me assist in deepening this pose. So I can choose to stay on tall arms, or if I want to go a little bit deeper, I can then use maybe the tall side of the block first and maybe rest my forearms here. You can use 2 blocks as well if you'd like. And if this feels okay, maybe try to shift the positioning of the block. Maybe I want to go down one more level on the block, and I can still feel that hip stretch and it still feels good. So none of this should hurt. It should feel comfortable and nice and stretchy. And if this feels good, maybe see how you do going down all the way on the block. And eventually, maybe you come all the way to the ground and bring your head down if that feels good to you. So those are some ways you can use blankets as well as the block to help you really get into your pigeon pose. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.